That Chloe.
Oh, by the way, that Chloe is disappointing. So
Yeah.
don't get your hopes up for that.
That Chloe. All right, so we getting into it. Hello. You already know what we about to get into. Or actually, we're doing another review. It's been a while, but this review is about Uncharted. Let's see. What you got, Brian?
All right, so y'all know the Uncharted film. You know, if anybody has played the game, it was either something you highly anticipated, or it was something that you had very low expectations for. Because obviously, the movie is never as good as the original media that was presented when it first came out.
I know for a fact Naughty Dog threw their hat on the floor and stomped in it for this one.
Yeah, video game adaptations are always having that struggle. This is like the biggest hit or miss ever, honestly. But yeah, you know, Uncharted video game series, of course, got a movie. But movie went through a lot of weird production issues because COVID and things like that. And then,
no excuse.
And then it had odd casting because it's like, you know, we expected a adult Drake like in his 30s or whatever, but then we end up with like Tom Holland as a younger Drake in his like early 20s.
Odd casting? How could Tom Holland be odd? Come on now.
He don't fit Drake. In terms of casting, like a lot of the choices is kind of weird, and the plot is rather like all over the place in terms of it. It's just like you have a strong blueprint with each Uncharted game, and the games are all like they're literally like cinematic movies that you're playing. So it's like it was the perfect series to turn into a movie, but this doesn't exactly really like nail that. Sadly.
Can I cut in?
I agree.
Yeah.
And then the thing that's most irritating about it, they already had a blueprint to follow.
Yeah.
The game gave them a story. The game gave the characters their own uniqueness. All you had to do was stick to the story. The game already set it up for you. Follow the path that's already set on the trail. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And They found a way to break it.
Yeah, because adaptations is like you go about things with your own vision. They had a huge blueprint. They took some stuff from like the young, you know, like Drake's kind of backstory and whatnot. They tweaked it a little bit, not to get into spoilers and whatnot, but just, you know, some of the choices just were like, not exactly the best. It didn't come out until like a super great story. It's kind of like, all right. And then there's like a lot of like, let's see, there's a lot of like who can you trust and like beefing between characters, but it's not super interesting really. It just kind of seems cookie cutter. And then like some points the acting is just kind of wooden. It's not really too good.
All right, so let's focus it, right? Because you started talking about the character, and obviously the main one, adult Drake, being Tom Holland. So you didn't agree with that character selection. What about? Okay, you said he didn't capture Drake. So what is Drake's persona in the video game that was supposed to be captured?
In essence, obviously the comedic, the comedy. You don't really got it. The thing is, there's a lot of scenes that could have used the action of Uncharted, but they ain't really do it here, which kind of sucks. Like, Holland can physically do the feats because he's, like, into gymnastics, so it's kind of disappointing to not get more stunts that feel like Uncharted, like something collapsing under your feet or something like that, or crazy trash is about to shoot you. Like, the physicality, there could have been more of that. Like, you kind of have a scene where he's kind of in a chase, but it's like, this is something he should have easily been able to do, and then it kind of... Chase isn't that good. It's just kind of goofy. It's not like the good Goofy. It's kind of like, dang. Hey. He's just underwhelming, sadly.
Wait, so okay, we all know Tom Holland as Spiderman, right? He's synonymous with Spiderman. So you tell me he could capture the humor of Spiderman, but not Drake?
No. Hold on. Don't put that on Tom. You got to put that on the director, bro. He's acting the role that he's told to act.
That's it.
You can't put that on the actor, bro.
So there's the writing of the character.
Yeah, exactly. I was just about to get to that.
With Spider-Man, he's supposed to be the teenage Spider-Man. And in terms of that, he does execute that. And here, they have a younger Drake, and they don't even have the comedy of younger Drake. And he's not even of the physicality. Like, he has the physicality, but he showed off none of the feats of what that Drake could have did.
Yeah, but like we said earlier, you got to blame that on the writing, not Tom himself. He's doing his thing.
Yeah.
I ain't mad at him. He's playing the role he's told to play.
So he could have.
But they wrote that. It's just the way they wrote his character. That's not on him.
Could have been, but honestly, personally, it shouldn't have been a younger Drake anyway. It should have been the adult Drake that's the focus of the games, who's in his 30s, not some 20-something-year-old Drake. Like, there's not stories around that version of Drake in the first place because he's not as established yet. He's good for flashbacks, but that's it.
Okay, so let's move on with that now. How do you feel about Sully?
Sully was bad.
Whoa, damn.
Sully was bad.
I didn't think he was that bad, honestly.
No, he's terrible.
Yo,
He literally
Sully
does that.
was so bad. I feel like Brighton wrote the script for him. Like that's how.
Oh yeah, so we'll get main characters, but in terms of without spoilers for Sully, Sully doesn't act in character. It's Mark Wahlberg. He acts like Mark Wahlberg. He doesn't really execute Sully. And the other thing too is that it's a younger Sully, but it's just younger Sully still acts like how he always does. He acts nothing like him.
I saw that.
Don't edit that out.
Oh my god.
So
Alright,
in
so-
terms of that, Sully's not terrible casting, honestly.
Is there any characters that fit the vibe of the game? What about the main antagonist?
No.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they're all
Absolutely not.
Yeah, casting. I was
Absolutely not.
Antonio Banderas is used, but without spoilers, he's very undercut. So it's like whatever potential that he had, he got undercut. So he was just nothing burger.
And now, girl, she was so cringy the whole movie.
Yeah,
not the not the
female
one that was
dude-
working with Tom.
No,
Not to spoil.
that's
I'm talking-
Not Chloe.
Yeah.
Not Chloe, but the female antagonist.
Yeah, her
she
name
was.
was-
Yeah, I
so
forgot her name too.
Her name
corny.
is Braddock. Yeah, she
was so
terrible.
corny. Like it
But-
just irked me.
In terms of that, yeah, plot stuff, spoiler free wise, plot, characters, it didn't really mesh too well here. It's just like a spectacle, and it's not good. Like, there's the huge stunt of the movie that's advertised a lot, the falling out of the plane that everyone sees in the trailers. It looks bad in the film. My God, the green screen. It looked like that was supposed to be the best stunt, but executed, it was just not the best. There was better stunts earlier, and that one just it was the most advertised.
But that
thing,
was in
and
the
it was
video
just-
game.
Yeah, but they executed it
Well,
bad. in
we'll
film.
talk about it in a
yo.
second.
Yeah, it was
So-
just executed bad in film.
So your point?
You gotta realize one thing, bro. Just because it was in the game, don't mean they executed it right in the movie. There's a lot of things that was in the comics, and then Justice League had a problem with a lot of the way they executed it in their movies, right?
Yeah.
There's that whole argument, bro. So you can't
Yeah,
really say
adaptation.
just because it's there, it's good.
Yeah.
You gotta do it right.
It doesn't
Like I said,
translate.
there's
Well, I
ada-
get that.
There's adaptation and whatnot. So
All right, Jake Wan is hitting us with the
Straight.
fire. Damn, I got it straight, but you got a higher straight. That's all yours.
besides that,
Yeah, so-
we can get into spoilers if you want now.
Uh,
Not much
yeah,
to say
definitely.
here, but in terms of that. In terms of plotting, they used aspects of the later games and stories, mostly using like flashbacks and things of that nature. But the overall kind of treasure journey isn't exactly the most exciting. And then it's just a lot of scenes is just kind of like the plotting is kind of goofy. It doesn't really like translate smoothly. The other thing too, the movie feels bloated. It's like 2 hours and it don't need to be 2 hours. It could have been an hour and a half. They could have cut 30 minutes of that movie easy. There's just a lot of fluff that don't need
okay,
to be there.
director.
It don't need to be there. I'm just saying that could have been an hour and a half smooth because the story is rather basic. It's not really nothing of the complexity of the game.
What exactly didn't you like?
Well,
Oh,
the plot's
boy.
adventure is just they're trying to find I think this Magellan treasure, this expedition that this like famous like sailor, or I think he was a pirate or something like that. The treasure that he left uncovered, like billions of dollars uncovered, and it revolves around like Drake's brother was looking for it. That's kind of how Sully gets pulled into it in the first place. Sully seeks out
And then he ends up.
he
pulling
seeks
you.
out Nathan because he thinks Nathan has some connection to the treasure, besides because he's related to Sam, right? And then and then they kind of use Sam, but it's like Drake's brother, but not in the smoothest way. Like if they're gonna involve him so much plot wise, he might as well have been in the movie. If they're gonna go about it that way,
The full movie, not just the beginning.
Yeah, they had the ability of utilizing a character that was used late in the series and could have been used heavily in the movie, but decided not to do it. But they use him as a plot device heavily, and then they try to make you feel like he's dead, even though it's very clear he's not. Like you just know. And then in terms of Sully, like character wise, he just he ain't interesting. And they got this whole like he's just in it for the money kind of thing.
Yeah, I had a problem with that too. Like in the game, Sully's character, he has a good heart. He's not selfish like that. But in the movie, they portrayed him like building up to be like villain
Yeah,
at one point, and
'cause
that was getting annoying.
Sully seeks out money to a degree because they're kind of basing it a little bit off of Uncharted 1 Sully, but that's BS because he was willing to risk all of that just to protect Kid Drake in the games when he first met him. So
Exactly.
it's like, if he literally was going to risk his life for a kid, this whole super greedy Sully is just not a good character.
Like, I can understand the beginning of the movie maybe, but don't drag it
Yeah,
all the way
they
out as if that's
dragged
supposed to
that-
be him.
Yeah, they dragged it throughout the entire
Honestly?
movie, and it wasn't interesting. It just... he kept being hypocritical on top of that.
Yeah,
It's
him
like,
and the
I
girl.
don't trust nobody. Then keeps giving Drake all the stuff that he needs to progress forward, even though Drake could literally double cross him, even though he doesn't trust anybody. So it's just like, I don't know. It's just weirdly inconsistent with that.
Yeah, and then also everybody with these double crossing and betrayals. Like, I get it, it's a movie. You got to build plot. But then to keep doing it for no reason when it's not necessary, it gets annoying. Like, are you trying that hard to make like a scheme in a story? Like the girl.
If it's interesting. But
Right.
here, it was not. It was just like,
For example, though, the girl, like when they were stuck in the water chamber.
Chloe.
Chloe.
I forget her name.
forgetful.
Okay, hold on. That just goes to show you how unimportant she was to me. If we talking about the game, I would have been saying her name all day.
Yeah.
Take that how you want. But if we,
I mean, guys that played the game, no.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That
But-
that Chloe
Oh,
was-
by the way, that Chloe is disappointing. So
Yeah.
don't get your hopes up for that.
that Chloe.
So, but if we talking about the movie, it's like, come on. Chloe and Drake been in so many situations where Drake literally looked out for her every single time where he could have double crossed her like she kept fearing about.
Yeah.
But then she keeps turning around with this trust nobody when he saved your life. Like, come on. What's the point at some point? It just gets annoying to
Nah,
watch.
The other thing too is the movie seemed to not even know what they were doing with her because they completely removed her from the final act of the movie inexplicably for no reason.
Yep.
She's just gone for no reason. And then it's like the whole island is literally blowing up. You see what's going on. There's just things flying across the place, like, you know, like a plane carrying a giant ancient
Exactly.
ship. That was
And she's just somewhere drifting off on a
That
boat.
was just a fun.
that was hilarious.
That became Fast and Furious real quick.
It
just
did.
like a cool
No,
action
That's
scene.
a great comparison.
That-
It
And
did.
let's
that
not
you could
talk
just enjoy
about-
mindlessly.
It did.
Let's not talk about Drake in the game having the rawest hands I've ever seen on one of a video game
yeah.
characters who doesn't have powers, right?
Yeah.
But every fight in the movie, he getting beat.
Yep.
That was
Honestly,
annoying too.
One
Like,
of the
come
things
on.
that really sucked about it was Sully was beating everybody, even though he's supposed to be old and not doing as well and stuff like that. Because he emphasizes it. Yeah, he's beating up these brolic guys like they're nothing. So it's just like, why are they giving Sully inconsistent strength? And Drake, who's physically fit, they got this man with a whole workout scene showing how buff
Muscle ups and all that.
he can't beat anyone. He gets beat by everybody, and there's no shooting till the end of the movie. Uncharted is all about.
Oh, yeah.
shooting.
He shot like
Everybody
once,
does that.
right?
Yeah, he's a
Yeah.
marksman in the game. You
No.
pick up AK-47, you pick up all
And-
type of rifles,
no.
you use sniper rifles, all that,
Here's
the whole
problem.
line in the game.
This is the problem because Drake in the games is trained by Sully, which is how he learned how to use firearms. But he already had his own type of street fighting, but it got refined by Sully, who had these physicalities. This movie, he just met Sully for the first time, and Sully does not train him at all. He gets trained in nothing. So all these physical feats is just what he could do off rip. So the only thing he could do
I
is
got an
run
explanation for that.
and jump. And he barely gets any scenes to run and jump. So it's just like
I'm gonna assume that they did it like that because they're trying to give the impression that Drake learned all that from his brother already. But if his brother's
No.
barely in the movie, then
his brother was.
His
He
brother
doesn't learn this
couldn't
from his
have
brother.
told
no,
Brother,
I'm
you
saying that's how they trying to make it come off, like with the beginning, like with him having an emotional thing
Because
as his
he's
brother.
no, he's 10 at that point. The only thing
Yeah.
he learned is parkour. That's it, which is the same thing he learns in the games. Drake's skills come from learning it through Sully.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
is-
like we know from the game.
Sully teaches him nothing. That's the problem. He doesn't learn anything from Sully. So they don't even create the teacher dynamic that's supposed to be there. Sully's just using him as a grunt who could run. That's it. So, and then when Drake gets into these physical fights, he ain't even using his legs. That's what you train. He's just getting beat every fight. And just like Brighton said, he only shot. He finally got to shoot. He missed. And then the guy who he's fighting didn't even get killed by the gun. He got killed by something random. Sully shoots and drops somebody. Drake finally gets a gun and shoots no one. But Sully gets a shot.
Oh.
And he's flying a plane. No, not a plane. A chopper. So I'm like,
Yeah.
this man is literally doing the... He's just carrying the movie at this point.
He was.
I was
At the
like,
end,
is this
yeah.
movie about Drake or Sully? My
I was just
God.
about to say that. And also, do you remember Drake being a bartender?
I mean, Drake can kind of do
Do
that. They just kind of did it for... It's not too big of a deal. Honestly, that.
I mean, there's been scenes where he
No,
dressed
I'm
up
just saying
and,
in general.
you know,
like,
acted
Yeah,
as a
I mean,
gambler
it's
and all
something he
that.
could pick up, but he just went that type of direction.
Look, that type of artistic licensing, I don't mind.
Yeah,
it builds the character, but
it was
overall, it didn't really affect the plot.
Yeah, in terms of plot, though, it's like, and then you have this like villain swerve where the enforcer just decides to become the main villain because why not? And she is rather not good.
Enforcer, just say the grunt, just the main grunt.
Yeah,
like,
she basically was.
Oh, yo, bro, that cringy scene where Sully, like when she was fighting Sully in like the restaurant, and Sully had pinned her down, and then what did she say? Oh, you missed this, don't you? I was like, oh, come on.
It brought you flashbacks, didn't it?
Yeah, they had some type of like romantic relationship.
We're not gonna talk about that.
It's
right?
funny because she gets undermined because Sully beats her. That's the thing. So Drake finally fights her, and they try to build this whole like, oh, she killed Sam or caused his death to kind of drum up drama between them. And then it's just like they finally fight, and Drake just gets washed, and then Sully beats her. So it's just like, what? Why did we get here? It's just lame. And he threw it. And what was funny about it too, they were really high up in the air. Sully drops a bag of gold on her, right? And she falls from a very high height into water. So I'm like, okay, she probably died from that. She comes out of the water perfectly fine. I was like, she's still alive. And then
they took a page out of Final Destination's book real quick.
The ship they were flying dropped on her, and then she died. So it was like, well, yeah, that death is pretty funny, but she shouldn't have survived getting like falling from that height in the first place.
Honestly, the bag of gold that hit her should have knocked her out already.
Yeah, she should have already been gonzo from that. But hey, she survived.
Look like Jaquan took it again.
Nah, boy. Well, they can't see, but I'm gonna flex this.
Do you have a flush?
I have a flush.
Okay, I was just about to ask you because I was like, I don't see anything. I was like, okay, you have a flush.
Yeah, so alright, so we're not gonna keep ranting about every single scene in the movie.
Nah, I mean, I talked about the central things. There's not much to really talk about because plotting, it's okay. It's just kind of all over the place. The movie's kind of bloated. The casting is just not it. It's not there.
Gotcha.
It had a lot of potential, and then they drummed it up to feel like there's gonna be a sequel, but no, this is bad.
What these directors need to do, they need to start playing the games before they write a movie on it. Stop reading the Wikipedia story and just making a script from there. Actually play the games and then see what the game feels like. See what it bought so you got something to go off. The blueprints is already there. As for these directors, the writing, like I said before, the writing is already there for you. You have a blueprint. Just follow it.
In terms of story, it needed better pacing and like a better direction. It just wasn't there. That's really on the writers, if anything.
I think it was just a mix of one being a cash grab and two just it was there and they felt like they had the creative license to just go wherever they wanted with it.
Oh, and one last thing I'm gonna say too: if they're gonna make a movie based off the game, pick a game to follow. Don't try to make certain ones because I feel like they took. Like you were saying earlier, like when we talked about it, they took from game 3 and game 4 of the Uncharted series and tried to put both those stories together, right?
And they tried to use Sully from game 1.
They tried to use
pick
Uncharted.
a game and stick to it.
Because the age of Sully is Uncharted 3, the youthful one when he meets Drake. But what's funny is Drake's not the right age. When he meets him, he's 15. This Drake is 25.
Another inconsistency.
So Sully is younger
like
than he's supposed to be, and Drake's older than he's supposed to be, and they don't even do the teacher-student dynamic.
It kind of feels like they're trying to force a casting of Tom Holland.
Yeah, literally, somebody said they picked Tom, and the cast was centered around him.
Yeah,
and it's just not. Like Chloe's supposed to be kind of the same age.
Yeah, nah.
It wasn't rocking.
Game about Drake, movie about Sully. There you go.
That pretty much sums up the entire entire review right now.
Yeah.
So all right, so out of 5, what do you think of the Uncharted movie?
I'm not answering that.
You have to answer it. That's the whole point of this thing.
It's a 2. It's just average. It's below average.
2 out of 5.
It's a 2 disappointing for me.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a huge Uncharted fan, so it's just like, dang. The potential there.
I give it 2.5.
Honestly, because look, I'm not gonna lie, it did start off decent. It started off like it had the potential to actually escalate into a better movie, but then after a certain point, it just took a nosedive and just stayed there. Like
it did whole. We're gonna start off with the big stunt, and then we're gonna do flashbacks, and then gonna take literally like almost an hour to get back to that point. But it's like what happened within that hour. The pacing of it was just rather boring. It just didn't pace itself.
Yeah, there was a point where it was just like, okay, set up.
Because the Uncharted games, Uncharted 2 did that. You saw the falling out of the train aspect, but the pacing of the game, you're entertained along the way.
But that falling out of the train was awesome.
Yeah, and then when you get up to it, it's like, oh, this crap is great because they paced it out and the story was good along the way. In this case, the story was bad, and then when you finally got to it, it wasn't as good of a spectacle.
So my question to that is it because we anticipated it? We kind of already knew what was gonna happen.
Yes.
I'm saying, is that why it's the
it's
experience
done.
is lesser for us? It's
No,
lesser.
I mean,
we
if
played the game, right?
No, if they executed the stunt well, then that would have been cool because
Then
they're
you still would've enjoyed
transitioning
it
it
the
into
same.
live action, but they flopped. It looks bad.
Yeah, and you gotta remember this movie. When people who played the game is like huge fans of the series see like this title,
Yeah.
everybody got a certain expectation in their head, bro. This is not like new to Hollywood or new to whatever scene. People have played this game, and this game's been out for a while. I mean, okay, this franchise, I should say.
Yeah.
So there is an expectation, bro. You can't just act like, all right, I'm coming into this expecting whatever mediocre. Nah, there's already a set standard.
But that's pretty much it. I gotta say much else.
All right. Okay, now I'm just saying, this will be the last thing. I'm sorry. We're looking at from the point of being people that played the game. Maybe if you didn't play the game and you have lower expectations,
Yeah,
this movie
I
might
mean-
enjoy it more.
Yeah, but you could. Yeah, if you didn't have the games as a basis, then you'll be a bit confused because some elements don't flow well, and then the characters they don't act nothing like the characters in the game. So if you go from the movies to the game, you're gonna be really confused, honestly, which is sad. Even if you don't play the series, it's rather mediocre.
Well, there you guys go. That's our review of the new Uncharted movie. 2, 2, and 2.5. So do what you want with that. Enjoy your night, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a comment on what you think.
Oh yeah.